again, it's Marcy Davis from Quick Start Piano, where adults learn by playing the music they love most. And today we're going to take a look at an arrangement of Don't Stop Believin'. An early intermediate arrangement would be comparable to the easy piano books that you might see. And we're going to be getting it out of this book here, Classic Rock Hits for Teens, Book 1. And I would say it's classic rock hits for anybody who likes classic rock. It doesn't have to be just teens. And if you're studying chords, and if you studied with me and chords and hand shapes, you could actually play this sooner than you might think. Because if you look at the music, it's a little bit scary looking, but really it is very chord based. Most pop rock music is. So we'll take a look at that. Let's take a look inside the piece. All right, so instead of playing it straight through, I'm going to go section by section, partly because this piece repeats so much. So the first section here, we've got this nice bass line with chords on top. And let me just run through that section, then we'll talk about it. Basic version of this. The original bass line is a little more syncopated, and I'll show you that in a minute, but let's take a look at the right hand chords. So if you have studied these chords before, you probably recognize this even from your first or second lesson with me. This is an F major chord, and then the next one is a C major with the root on top. But if you haven't got there yet, you could look that up in our student resources for chord inversions. So we're basically doing an F, then a C with the root on top, and then we've got this same shape. We had a C with the root on top with the pinky. Next is going to be a D minor, D, F, A. And then we have a B flat major chord with the root in the middle. So it's basically just F major, C, D minor, B flat major. And then it keeps going, the same thing. Then we switch to A minor, and then back to B flat major. So it's not quite a 4-chord song, a little bit more than that, but lots of repetition. Now, if you've heard the original bass line, you can tell they straightened it out a little bit to make it easier. So, from the original is that there's a little syncopation. So right before this chord changes, the bass is going to come in. So it might be like this. So all I've done is taken the last note, or rather the first note of each measure, and shoved it over to the last 8th note of the previous one. And I wasn't thinking that hard about it. I was just listening, thinking of what I'd heard when I'd heard the piece before. Okay, so that's the first section. And now we've got with the lyrics coming in. So now the chord shift to the left hand. We've got that F major again. Look at those left-hand chords. We have an F major in root position, and then we have a C with the root on top, and then a D minor in root position, and then a B flat with the root on top, and then back to F. And just for clarification, you don't have to say major. If you say F, we assume that is major. Sometimes I'll do it for clarity, but we actually don't have to, and that's a good thing to know. So basic chord shapes here, and what I have my beginners do, sometimes if they're not ready to read this, but their fingers could still play it, we'll write the chords in to help them get over that hump so the notes aren't quite as scary. Let's go on to the next section, Strangers Waiting. Actually even easier than the previous parts because we go back to chord shells, which we did before have that middle note when we're down so low. So we got B flat chord shell, and then F chord shell. Again, very repetitive. Let's see, what have we got? The Don't Stop Believin' continues with the chord shells. So hopefully that if you are a beginner or you've only been taking for a shorter amount of time, hopefully that will give you courage to try something like this. It's not as hard as it looks when you open the printed music. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you'll never miss another tutorial or a piano book tour showing you what's inside. So have fun making music, and I will see you in the next video.